Today's video takes us into one of Europe's most haunting student murders, set in the scenic town of Perugia, Italy. What started as a promising academic journey for a young British student ended in a gruesome and mysterious killing. This was no ordinary crime. It would spiral into an international legal saga involving DNA trails, suspicious lovers, and courtroom twists that made global headlines. Behind the beauty of the Italian countryside, a brutal truth was hiding. A roommate found with a strange story, a locked door, and blood on the floor. It would take years to figure out who really killed Meredith Kercher. Before we begin unraveling the case, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more chilling true crime breakdowns based on real investigations. And let me know in the comment which country are you watching from. Now let's return to 2007, where a nightmare was just beginning in a peaceful Italian hillside home. Meredith Kercher, a 21-year-old student from the UK, had moved to Perugia in September 2007 to study abroad for a year. She was smart, sociable, and full of life. Her flatmates described her as responsible and sweet-natured. She lived with 3 other girls, including Amanda Knox, an American exchange student, who would soon become a central figure in the case. Just 2 months into her stay, tragedy struck in the most unimaginable way. On the evening of November 1st, 2007, Meredith had dinner with friends before heading home around 9 p.m. She was last seen alive around that time. By the next day, Meredith's British friends became concerned when she failed to respond to messages and didn't show up to a planned outing. Amanda Knox and her boyfriend, Raphael Solicito, said they were also worried after discovering signs of a break-in and bloodstains in the house. Police arrived at the house at around 1 p.m. on November 2nd. Amanda was already outside, and the door to Meredith's room was locked. After multiple failed attempts to get inside, a housemate requested the door be broken down. What they found inside was horrifying. Meredith's partially clothed body was lying on the floor under a blood-stained duvet. Her throat had been slashed, and the room showed signs of a violent struggle. The crime scene was chaotic. There were blood spots in multiple areas of the house, including the bathroom Amanda had used. Oddly, nothing valuable was missing. Meredith's credit cards, money, and keys were still present. Investigators were suspicious. Amanda and Raphael's calm demeanor didn't match the brutality of the scene. And their story, detectives soon discovered, was full of inconsistencies. Amanda Knox claimed she had spent the entire night of the murder at Raphael's apartment. But phone records and conflicting timelines started to chip away at that alibi. The couple claimed they were smoking marijuana and watching a movie, yet neither could remember what movie they saw. Raphael's internet usage didn't support their claims, and Amanda's strange behavior raised eyebrows. During initial questioning, Amanda was seen kissing Raphael outside the house, laughing, and doing cartwheels at the police station. It wasn't illegal, but it was suspicious given the gravity of what had happened. Investigators started to believe this was more than just a break-in gone wrong, and Amanda Knox's behavior kept putting her under the spotlight. Under pressure from long police interrogations, Amanda's statements began to change. She eventually implicated herself, claiming that she was at the house during Meredith's murder and had heard her scream. Even more shockingly, she accused the bar owner she worked for, Patrick Lumumba, of being the killer. This accusation would later turn out to be false and a major turning point in the case. Patrick Lumumba was arrested but quickly released when solid evidence showed he had a strong alibi. Meanwhile, a new suspect emerged, Rudy Guede, a 20-year-old from the Ivory Coast with a history of petty crimes. His fingerprints and DNA were found in Meredith's room, on her body, and on her purse. His presence at the scene was undeniable. But was he the only one? Rudy Guede fled to Germany days after the murder. He was extradited to Italy and confessed to being present during the attack. However, he claimed Meredith was alive when he left, and he denied being the killer. His story didn't align with the forensic findings or the time of death. Guede was tried separately and convicted of sexual assault and murder. He received a 30-year sentence, later reduced to 16. If you are still with us, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Despite Guede's conviction, the focus didn't shift away from Amanda and Raphael. Prosecutors argued that the murder was the result of a drug-fueled sex game gone wrong, involving all 3 suspects. They said Amanda and Meredith had argued over house cleanliness, and that the tension escalated into a violent confrontation. Amanda and Raphael were arrested and charged with Meredith's murder. The prosecution's case was built on circumstantial evidence, strange behavior, and weak forensic links. They claimed Amanda's DNA was found on a kitchen knife in Raphael's apartment, which also contained a small trace of Meredith's DNA. However, the validity of this evidence would later be heavily questioned. The public, both in Italy and abroad, became obsessed with the case. In December 2009, after a year-long trial, Amanda Knox and Raphael Solicito were found guilty. Amanda was sentenced to 26 years in prison. Raphael got 25. The courtroom exploded with reactions. Meredith's family expressed relief, while Amanda's family wept in disbelief. It seemed the case had finally closed. But that was far from the truth. Both Amanda and Raphael appealed the verdict, and in 2011, after a dramatic retrial, their convictions were overturned. Independent forensic experts revealed that the DNA on the knife and bra clasp had likely been contaminated. No clear evidence tied Amanda or Raphael directly to the scene. The court declared them innocent due to lack of evidence. Amanda was released and flew home to the U.S. In 2013, Italy's highest court reversed the acquittal, demanding another trial. The roller coaster of verdicts continued. In 2014, Amanda and Raphael were once again found guilty, Amanda in absentia. But in 2015, the Italian Supreme Court stepped in one last time and fully exonerated them, stating that there had been stunning flaws in the investigation and that no evidence proved their involvement. By then, Rudy Guidi was the only person still serving time for Meredith's murder. His reduced sentence meant he was eligible for early release, and in 2021, he was quietly freed from prison after serving 13 years. Though he maintained his innocence in the murder itself, he admitted to being present during the attack. For many, the full truth still feels elusive. Despite Amanda's legal victory, the suspicion and media frenzy never left her. She returned to Italy in later years for a documentary and continues to speak about wrongful convictions. But in Meredith's hometown, questions lingered. If Guidi didn't act alone, who helped him? And if Amanda and Raphael were innocent, why did their stories keep changing? Forensic evidence also remained controversial. Experts debated whether the small amounts of DNA on the knife could have transferred by secondary contact. The bra clasp with Raphael's DNA had been moved multiple times before being analyzed, opening the door for contamination. Still, many argued the evidence was too weak for a double conviction in the first place. One of the biggest mysteries was the apparent lack of defensive wounds. Meredith was a fighter. She had bruises and signs of struggle, but something about the scene didn't feel like a solo attack. Yet with only one person ever convicted, the case officially closed with a single name. For the justice system, the answers had been given. For the public, they hadn't. At the time of her death, Meredith had been in Perugia for just over 2 months. She was thriving academically and socially, and had quickly formed a close-knit group of friends. Her relationship with Amanda Knox was cordial, but not particularly close. They came from very different backgrounds and personalities. Meredith, reserved and studious. Amanda, free-spirited and spontaneous. On the night of the murder, Meredith's bedroom showed signs of a struggle. Her body had been covered with a blood-soaked duvet, and her injuries included deep wounds to the neck. The autopsy revealed signs of sexual assault, further supporting that the attack had been both violent and prolonged. Whoever committed this murder had time and familiarity with the house. Investigators initially treated Amanda as a witness, not a suspect. But inconsistencies in her timeline, her sudden accusation of Patrick Lumumba, and conflicting statements from Raphael made them change direction. Amanda's confession came during a long, overnight interrogation session, which she later claimed was coerced and conducted without legal counsel. Rudy Guidi's arrest added complexity to the case. He claimed he had gone to the bathroom and returned to find Meredith bleeding. He said he panicked and fled, but his bloody footprints were found leaving the room, and his DNA was found inside her body, evidence that clearly connected him to the crime in a way the other two suspects never were. One of the key forensic points was the knife allegedly used in the murder. It was found in Raphael's apartment and tested positive for Amanda's DNA on the handle. A tiny trace of Meredith's DNA was also detected on the blade, but later deemed unreliable due to low quantity and possible contamination. Still, this knife became a symbol of the entire prosecution. The bra clasp flask found in Meredith's room had Raphael's DNA on it, but wasn't collected until 6 weeks after the murder. It had been moved around, touched, and exposed to numerous surfaces, raising serious doubts about its reliability. Critics of the case argued that the forensic handling was careless, if not negligent. Prosecutors tried to create a narrative that the murder was the result of an orgy or satanic ritual gone wrong, but there was never any concrete proof to support those claims. They relied on assumptions, behavior analysis, and character judgments, elements that wouldn't hold up in many modern courtrooms. In the years following, Guide offered interviews hinting at the involvement of others, but never named names. He implied Amanda and Raphael were present, but no hard proof supported that claim. Even today, it's unclear whether he acted alone or had help, and if so, from whom. The truth remains buried behind conflicting testimonies and flawed investigations. Meredith Kercher's family continued to attend court hearings, quietly hoping for closure. They never pursued public attention. To them, the most important thing was justice for their daughter, not media headlines, not documentaries. In their view, the one person physically tied to the crime was found guilty. That perhaps was as close to justice as they could get. The house in Perugia where Meredith died was eventually rented out again, and her grave in South London remains a quiet place of mourning. The story of Meredith Kercher will forever be marked by its mysteries, courtroom drama, and the unforgettable image of a life stolen too soon. In the end, there was only one conviction, but many questions still remain. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.